Because sometimes people keep something because it was a gift, but they don't like it and they'll never use it. And I'm like, it's okay, just let it go. Somebody else can use it.
I have a couple of those in my house still.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the second episode of the Bamford podcast. Today we have Natasha, owner of Home Free Organizing Solutions. We've had a lot of experiences together working with the mutual clients, and I just kind of want to see, Natasha, what do you offer potential clients out there? I know that there was a bunch of things that I didn't even expect that were available in Saskatoon before we met.
Yeah, our company kind of started as we saw a need with seniors specifically for what I call downsizing, but you guys call right sizing. So I think I need to change my verbiage. So we do a lot of downsizing with older adults. We do general home organizing. We also work on estates, so dealing with all the possessions left behind after somebody passes. And in recent years, we've just added like a pack unpack service for clients, as well as like prepping houses for sale. So we've worked with some of your clients where we're kind of decluttering and pre-packing items so their home is showing better before they list it.
Yeah, makes sense, and certainly works. There's no doubt about it. You also mentioned at one point that for new construction, if people were, I know a lot of our clients are building new homes and looking for some organizational tips. You know, I know that you mentioned working with potentially even designers when it comes down to having that that function and design to be able to incorporate into one. Can you explain a little bit more about those?
Yeah, I mean, we've come into homes that are in renovation or new builds, and people are just wanting some advice on just like really creating good organization for the way that their family works. And every family's a little bit different. Whenever I walk into a kitchen, I always check to see if all the lower ones are drawers, because that's like what you want for sure. I know it's more, but you're really gonna get your money's worth for something like that. I've walked into closets before that are brand new, beautiful homes, and they're just not functional at all. So it would be nice to get somebody like ourselves to come in right at the beginning to give some tips on just functionality and practicality of living in a home, because all the design stuff is very important. But so is this, because, you want enough space for your pantry and for your family to, have 5 different coats for one day, even in Saskatchewan, because, we have such a variety of seasons. And so that mud room or the entry closet is really important as well.
Right. No, that makes a big difference. And truthfully, I see a lot of homes where it's got beautiful design, but the function just isn't there for the everyday person that's living with a family or, different types of things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we've had some success stories, as you mentioned, about some people right-sizing. I wanted to touch base about a project we had on Copeland. Just to give our consumers a little bit of a background, is that these people were empty nesters, large home, 2,400 square foot, 2-story, double attached garage, lots of belongings, kids that were across Canada not able to help out with the everyday stuff. How were you able to come into that situation and I guess help these people move into the right-sized home?
Right. So in every situation, we start with an in-home consultation, which is a free service, and it usually takes about an hour, and we're just getting the information from them about their plan, like what their listing date is or what their move date is, and then also just getting a tour of the home overall, asking lots of questions about what they're hoping to keep, if they're wanting to sell anything, if things are going to family and friends, and I'm taking thorough notes throughout. And then from that point, we book in some work time. So I have a small team that works with me. So there's 5 of us total. So we can come in, the whole team, and really get things done pretty quickly. At Copeland, for example, they were moving into a smaller home, and they knew what they wanted to take with them. And so we were pre-packing and we were prepping the home for sale. I think you guys even got somebody to come in and paint as well. But we really decluttered the home, kind of depersonalized it, but still made it look homey. And so it really, I think the sale happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, it did. We had multiple offers, went quite a bit over list, and the clients were really happy as well, right? So one thing is that I know that the big thing is that getting rid of things. I know we have one small step, which is a great, place to be able to find different organizations that are in need of these materials, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the other options that you have? I know that you've kind of went through with some of the clients and help them potentially even put it in the right place or sell it. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can assist them with dispersing of their belongings in multiple ways. So often there is some family that's taking things, and that's a matter of, if they're here, like we've actually shipped things to California for people before, like even little tables and stuff.
Wow.
Because we really want to help our clients in any way we can. Like our biggest thing is to reduce the stress as much as possible, because as you know, like moving and selling a home, especially for people who've been in it for 40, 50 years, which these people I think had been, there's so much stuff and they don't know where to start and they're overwhelmed. And that's when we get phone calls. It's like people are just totally overwhelmed. So we assist with, planning to get rid of things. So there's different organizations here in town that will come and pick up furniture for donation. And then there's, I think I had suggested one of the antique shops in town to come and take a look at some of their things, which they bought. So they were really happy with that. There's so many great organizations to donate to here in Saskatoon. So really depending on what the client wants and what's important to them, we try to seek out like places like that to donate.
So it's catered to the individual client and what their needs and wants are at the end of the day. Okay, that sounds great. It's a daunting task for people, especially when they've been in that home for like you're saying 30, 40 years. It's like, where do you start? And also those conversations with the kids are interesting as well too, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Sounds good. So I know, from my experiences that I have a girlfriend with 2 kids, I know organization for a lot of people is difficult. What would be your number one free tip of advice that you could give any one of our consumers out there that would be a valuable tip for them?
Just overall organizing advice. I think most people just have too much stuff. Or the people that I'm working with anyways, because when people are feeling overwhelmed, it's because there's so much stuff and it's piling up and they don't have enough time to deal with it because people are living really busy lives, and young families especially. Like one of our biggest clients is families with young children. They're all in activities. The parents are both working, and so they have very little spare time to deal with, the clothes that the kids have outgrown or the sports equipment they've outgrown, or swapping out winter and summer gear. Like those are things that we do for people.
Okay.
And helping them get rid of items. And we take away those donations the day that we're working with the clients, so they don't have to deal with those either. So people really feel like, a weight lift off their shoulder when we work with them quite often.
Right. And this could,
I just remembered what your question was. It's the one piece of advice. I would say just like really take a critical eye around your home and say, like, is this something that I need, want, like even?
Right.
Because sometimes people keep something because it was a gift, but they don't like it and they'll never use it. And I'm like, it's okay, just let it go. Somebody else can use it.
I have a couple of those in my house still.
Yeah.
Understandable. So, I know that, for everybody's a little like I think that you're talking about more of a professional client that you do, those kind of things for on a weekly basis or maybe multiple week basis. Mm-hmm. Now, is it you are still able to be hired for maybe it's a weekend job, correct?
Yes.
Like if it's one room that they wanted, that doesn't have to be, a commitment for weeks on one.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we do have clients that will maybe, organize one space or maybe even the whole house and then just have them on a maintenance schedule. So maybe like 2 months later, we'll come in and do the pantry again or whatever needs to be done. But yeah, sometimes we just come in and do one space and then that's it. And that is a lot of my clients as well too. But we do have clients that'll call like a year later and say, I need you for this space now. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Repeat business is obviously you're doing something right then,
yeah.
Right? Well, I know when this is going to be airing is that we're going to be kind of that transition from summer holidays. What would be your, some suggestions that you have for people that are transitioning into September and into the school year?
Yeah, I mean, routine. We all get back into routine in September when you're back from the lake and kids are going back to school. Even if you don't have children, it just seems to be that time of year where people are taking work a little bit more seriously. So really, There's a change in seasons. So always in the spring and the fall, I talk about like looking through your wardrobe, for example. For my kids, when they're going back to school, they hate it, but I get them to try on their pants because they've probably grown 2 inches and we need to determine, what they need to buy for the new school year. But it's good for adults to do too, because you're kind of transitioning out of your summer wardrobe into your fall wardrobe. And that's a good time to let go of some things that you haven't worn in a while or that maybe doesn't fit anymore either for whatever reason. So that's a big thing is the wardrobe. And then also like our outerwear starts to change. So you slowly bringing in coats. We never know when the snow is going to hit here, hopefully not in September, but that's something to think about. Like, do I need to buy a new winter coat for my kid? And do they have mitts? Because it is nice to be prepared before that snow does hit, because sometimes it does take us by surprise. Another thing is like the garage. So in my home, like we always seasonally, like spring and fall again, switch out the garage. So sometimes we're putting things away and maybe putting it up in the rafters in the garage, just so you're prepared for that major change in season.
So basically it takes work. There's no way of doing this
Always.
without work. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Completely understandable. Well, I think that's kind of the majority of things that we wanted to touch base today. Obviously, for any of our viewers that are out there, is that Natasha has been great working with our clients, and if you're in need of any of her services, it will be in the description of for our podcast there, and you can reach out to her. Is that we've had great experiences, and thanks again for being our first guest.
Wow, I'm honored.
On
Thank you.
episode 2 here. So thanks again.
Thanks.